So what happens when we get a contact from a producer and they want help, or they seek help in trying to put together a prescribed burn plan, or even determine if they really are a candidate to use the practice of prescribed burning? So we would meet with that producer on the site, if at all possible, and we would talk about what their goals might be in the use of prescribed burning. And we would also address why that plant community that they are concerned about would really benefit from the use of prescribed burning. And then once we've addressed that initial use of prescribed burning, how would we use fire as a maintenance tool going forward? So we would meet with that producer on the site. We would go over those details, and we would specifically write a prescribed burn plan that addresses their landscape, their pastures, their land, whatever they're trying to manage there, and the concerns that they might have. And we would put that plan together in a way that would allow them to safely apply prescribed burning on the landscape. And from that point in time, hopefully then we have relieved some of the anxiety that comes along with it. Our goal would be for that application of fire to be a positive one, so that they would not be near as apprehensive to use it a second time. And so we talk about fire, and many times we fail to address that, and I'm particularly one individual that wants to see fire used in a very safe manner. And so when we talk about prescription, we're talking about outlining and detailing specific conditions, weather conditions, fuel conditions, timing of that application to meet whatever those goals are, and to minimize the risk of any off-site or even on-site problems that could occur from the use of fire. And so we will specifically design a plan that minimizes the impact or the possible impacts that would be negative associated to a prescribed fire. And certainly when it's hot and dry and maybe the humidity is too low and it's just unsafe to use fire, we would also hope to be able to educate an individual to be able to discern when is a safe time. Am I really meeting that goal? Am I using the prescription that's been set out before me? And not trying to just accomplish a fire just to turn the landscape black. We certainly have to have those goals in mind, and when the fire is completely put out, then did we reach those goals safely? And so the prescription should address that. Certainly when today, like when we were filming this, it's 10 degrees outside. It's hard to imagine just a few months from now where prescribed burning might be a practice that is commonly being chosen to be applied that particular day. But timing and that planning really has to be at the forefront of that. And again, as we talk about prescribed burning, sometimes even though an individual would like to apply prescribed burning in that year in front of them, they may need to prepare the site for multiple years to be able to accomplish the goals that they have in the use of prescribed burning. Sometimes that is the creation of fuel. How will you have to differ or change the way in which you're grazing that particular area if livestock are being used, so that you will be able to create the fuel load that's necessary to control, or maybe even to reach the goals that you have in mind for the use of fire. And so planning out in the forefront is really important. So if you have questions, if you have goals in mind, now's the time to start thinking about those. Fire might not be used this year. It might not be used next year. It might not be used in the spring. It might be applied in a time of the year where you would least expect the use of fire. It's a prescription, and it should be targeted towards what your goals are. So the day of the burn has arrived, and you've got a prescribed burn plan out in front of you. The prescription is there. The equipment is all there. Your individual ranchers, neighbors, those who are there to help you accomplish that fire are all ready to go, but the weather conditions may not be. One of the things that the prescription is really set out to do is to make sure that the application of that fire not only reaches the goals, but also can be safely applied. It may be is more of a learning thing to be able to discern when not to burn than just to be able to say, I hope I can get this done safely. The application of the fire, without a doubt, has to be done when we know we can control the outcome. Sure, sometimes there are escapes that are maybe just a little bit beyond our control, but the real discernment means that we have to be able to decide at that moment, at that time, when we strike that match and we are committed to the fire, that we can safely apply the fire on the landscape. So again, the day of the fire, the day that it's planned to be accomplished, you've got all the help, you've got all the equipment there and ready to go. Certainly everybody has a job. And so as we think about how the process unfolds, Everybody should know exactly how it's going to be accomplished, the sequence and how the ignition is going to occur, who's going to be responsible for watching out to make sure certain areas that maybe are a little more risky are controlled and within the prescription. It takes individuals to know not only how to read that prescribed burn plan, but that you go over it very methodically prior to the application, before that first match is ever lit, so that everybody understands what their role is and what their place is and how to contact or communicate with one another should there be an issue. A prescribed burn plan has to be something that is very orchestrated and very sequential, so everybody is in the right place at the right time and the burn is accomplished as scheduled.